And we're live. Well, perfect. Nick, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Anyone who doesn't know, this is Nick Kourousis. Me and Nick we go way back, all the way back to the school ages. One of the first things that I wanted to talk about, because I don't think very many people know this, is that you basically set me and Darian up on our very first date ever. And the rest is history. 11 years later, we're still together with kids and married and all the fun stuff. It was at the bowling alley. Nick told me that we were just going bowling, me and him and a couple other boys that night. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Next thing you know, two girls walk up and I was like, what's going on here? He goes, you're actually on a double date with me right now. I'm like, you son of a bitch. So, but who would have thought? Yeah, that turns out it was Darian and ended up being my wife. And 11 years later, we're still going strong. So the ultimate wingman, I have to say, you hooked us up real good. So I had to give you props for that. So.
It worked out.
As all things do. Well, that's great. So how are you? How's everything going with you? How's the lady? How's the kid?
Everything's going good, man. Yeah, just busy with work. Kids all over the place. Three is just he's all over, getting into everything. He's talking like crazy, talking back, doing all the kind of getting into trouble, but
Woo!
it's all good. Yeah, it's
That's
fun.
funny.
It's a lot of fun. I think for the like dads in particular, it's like when they're infants or like with like 0 to a year old, it's like okay, like a lot of that's more mom. Like you're still
Mhm.
there, but like once they start getting into this age, it's like okay, the toddler years are like more dad. You can play with them a little else with them. It's a lot more fun.
No, that's awesome. So that's what my mom was saying earlier today. She's like, everyone says the terrible twos, but she's like, it's the terrible threes. I swear, like that too.
Yeah.
Because yeah, my daughter's just about to turn 2 in a week, and she's just so much fun. She doesn't talk too much. She's just got her sayings, all this fun stuff. So, she's like, yeah, at 3 years old, they start talking back, they start talking shit, and I'm like, well, I'm not looking forward to that because yeah, like you said, the dad's got to step in there and not so much of the catering and everything like that. That's
Yep.
awesome. I'm glad everything's going well. I know you're in Arizona still, right?
Yep. Still out in Phoenix. Yep.
How's that going for you? I know you're never been a West Coast kind of guy, but you're living the West Coast
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, I'm loving it. I love Arizona. It's actually fantastic. Phoenix, it's a massive city, but it doesn't, it's such a massive land area too. So it's like, it doesn't feel like it. Everyone's pretty spread out. So like you get just kind of pockets of activity, pockets of stuff to do. And, no, I really like it down here. Yes, it's hot in the summer, but it's like, okay, you get used to it. You just go out in the mornings, go out in the evenings, like, or just deal with it during the day. It doesn't matter, but a lot of stuff to do. It's a lot of fun out here.
I say that's always the knock on it is it's just hot as balls. But it's beautiful. Like I think I've been to Arizona twice now, and it was both in like December and January months, and it's gorgeous. Like it's just absolutely beautiful. I think it's probably like Texas, where you just have to kind of pick and choose your battles when you're going outside, and go from there. But what is the hunting scene like out there? Obviously, you've always been big into hunting.
Oh,
What do you got to
man.
hunt out there?
It's fantastic hunting in Arizona.
Mm,
Don't tell anybody, but
mm,
it's lots of upland game hunting, lots of big game. You've got elk, coos deer, mule deer, black bear. You've got archery hunts, rifle hunts. You got a bunch. Javelina is another great one to hunt too and get out. It's an easy tag to draw. Mountain lion. I shot a mountain lion this last year on one of my coos deer hunts. So no, there's a lot to hunt out here, man. It's pretty cool. And the terrain's like down. I hunt by the border predominantly. The terrain's crazy down by the border. Just like the mountains are beautiful. It's you think of Arizona, you think of this dry, desolate desert, and
mhm.
they're like around the Phoenix area. You're not that wrong for the most part, but when you get up into the northeastern corners, Flagstaff, or if you get down to the southern border, it's a lot of mountains. It's pretty cool.
Yes, that would have been my statement or question was like, how is there so much, with no vegetation and just everything? But if they got a place to live, then by all means, it's just, I guess, a little bit different than the terrain that we're used to. But which kind of brings me to my next question. Have you ever thought about coming back to the Midwest, or do you think you're out there for good?
Dude, I have. I've thought about that a lot. I love the Midwest. I think, and you could attest to it too. The Midwest is a wonderful place to raise a family. It really is. You have everything's a little bit slower, but like when you're younger, you kind of look at that as like that sucks. And then as you get older and you start having kids, you're like, it's actually kind of nice for things to slow down because everything is just moving so fast. And maybe one day we'll move back to the Midwest. I don't know if we'll ever move back to Iowa. I love Iowa. I love where we grew up. It's a beautiful area, but it's just something I don't, every time I go back, I'm like, I'm happy that I don't, I don't live here, but I love visiting, type of thing. So who knows? I do love Arizona. I also love just the Mountain West in general. Like we spent some time in Montana this last year, in
Yeah.
Idaho.
Mhm.
Idaho's beautiful too. Beautiful. I got to go up there. The end of August. We bought a puppy up there, so
Wow.
we're gonna go pick. Yep, in Idaho Falls. Might
That's a
have to stop
trip.
by see Brendan. Yeah.
Dude, you definitely could. He loves it out there, man. Idaho's yeah, I've treated him great, and he loves all everything that encompasses it. So, but I think you said it perfectly. Is that when you're younger, you just want to get out so bad, and you want to explore things. You want to have all these different new and opportunities. And so, you and me both, yeah, moving to the West Coast and getting to experience that life. But yeah, well, like you said, when you become parents, now you just want everything to slow down. Like it's so weird how that concept works when you're single and doing your own thing, how fast you want life to go and how fast paced everything is. But the second you have kids, you're just like, man, just slow down. Or like just make it you want to make it simpler, less complex. Because obviously living in cities and there's just tons and tons of people, it makes having a kid a little bit more complex than if you're in a small rural town. So yeah, that's what drove us back to the Midwest is the kid. Obviously Kansas City, we still live in the city, so we still have populace of like 2 million people spread out. So there's still a lot of things, a lot of people. But we've honestly now that we have two, we've been thinking about it because it's just like it's so useful to have grandparents around. It's so useful to have family around to just help out with the littlest things. And so um it's not about you anymore. As you know, it's just when you become a dad, it's just not about you. So it's like, what is the best scenario or best situation I can put the kids in? Uh, and honestly, the Midwest is one of them. And so, but that kind of turns into my next question of like, how has becoming a dad kind of changed your perspective on life?
It's like a complete like 180 realistically. I have a coworker said it best, and I've kind of hijacking what he said. He's like, it's like, what were you doing before? Like, you really don't know. Like, once you have a kid, you're like, what the hell was I doing with my life this whole entire time? It's a lot of fun. It's frustrating. It's all the emotions combined into one, but it's like you really don't understand like unconditional love until you have your own children. Because it's like they don't really do anything for you realistically. You're
Right.
providing for them, doing everything for them, and you love them to death, and you couldn't imagine life without them. It was a sobering experience for me when he was born, and then like just now raising him and everything. It's a lot of fun, and I love every minute of it, even the downs. It's all worth it. It's so much fun at the end of the day.
It is,
Yeah.
and I love that quote because I've been told the same one where it's just like, "What were you doing before that?" You know, it's just like if you look back, even like I always tell people all my whether it's promotion at work, doing certain, whether it's the military, whatever it was that you're like at the time, you're like, "This is so important, like this is everything to me." It doesn't even matter. You don't even think about it anymore. You're like, "Who gives a shit?" 'Cause you haven't really done anything to fulfill life's purpose until you have a kid, so which is hard. It's hard to explain to people that, and especially, there's a lot of people in society now that don't want kids or, like, just are staying away from that, and it's like, I don't hate on anyone doing that or, taking a different route than I have, but I just can't explain to them what they're missing out on. Like, there's just such a big part of life's puzzle that they just don't get to experience.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head with that. It's just like, yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I mean, I don't know if you and Darian planned your first kid, but I know for me, it was definitely it was a pleasant surprise,
Mhm.
right when I moved out here. So, but I mean, I've always looked at it's like not the end of the world. I've always wanted to have kids. So it was like, I'm just looking forward to this experience. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And you get to kind of just you get to kind of make their life, and set up their life for them and build memories for them and help them out.
Yeah. Most important thing we'll ever do, that's for sure. Do you think that there's more kids down the line then for you, or do you think one
Oh,
done?
I think definitely. We're still starting to settle in here and trying to
Yeah,
figure
yeah.
out like, hey, we're going, what direction we're going to go. But I think once we get that, definitely we both want more kids. So I think and we threw around the 2 under 2 idea, which you and Darian are living that life, which you do it for them. I'm sure right now it's like,
Yes.
oh my goodness. But as they get older, that's going to be so awesome. That's going to be just two little best buddies right there. Like, I mean, you and Brendan were the same thing for the most part, weren't you? Like, you guys are a year apart, 2 years apart?
Yep, 2 years apart, and that was the whole thing, and it's so crazy because they were both accidents technically, like, we weren't trying to have kids either of the times, and so it just we always took the mindset that whatever life gives us, that's what we're gonna take and run with, and it blessed us with 2 under 2, so, you're right, I mean, right now it's a lot, but, um Eh, it's hard to describe though, because yeah, it's not a lot, but it is, 'cause when you're in it and, like, say there's shit going down during the day or, like, you're trying to go out of the house, all the different things that you do as a parent, it's a lot, but then at the end of the day, when you get to sit there and just reflect, it's so cool, and as you know, it's like you take no moments for granted when you have kids too, because you know you don't ever get that again, where kids is just, like, literally a one-time thing, with each kid, obviously, if you have more kids, you get to repeat that, but, especially having the second where I'm like, "Man, I don't think I appreciated the first one enough," where it's just like, there's some days where they're crying or you're just having a bad day and you're like, "Man, just get me to the next day or let this thing grow up a little bit faster so I can, get the toddler." It's just so different, and especially with, grandparents too. Obviously, I got blessed to have my parents that come down at least once a month or at least try to, and get to spend a lot of time with the grandkids, and man, the smile that the grandkids can put on a grandparent's face is nuts. It's crazy. It is just the smile that you get, it's like, and the treatment that they give them. It's like, you never treated me this good growing up," but it's the
It's like a
grandkid
little bit of
effect.
envy, like, it's like, "What the hell?" It's like, "You guys treated me like shit, what are you talking
I
about?" Like,
know, I know.
yeah, joking, it's all in good fun. No, my mom and dad are the same way. I mean, they got 6 grandsons, so yeah. Yeah, my sister got 5 boys, so they're crazy, but yeah, every time they see my mom and dad, it's like Grammy and Papa. It's like, and granted, they live in the same town, so they see him about every night for the most part, so
That's
it's
awesome.
really cool. You can definitely see, like, how exciting it is for them to be grandparents, and it's really cool to watch that as well.
Yeah. It's gotta be a surreal feeling, yeah, because and it's always so interesting because I know, like, my relationship with my parents, and I just never thought of it as, like, that so special, like, the way you see it as in a parent lens, but now, like, when I see my kid and I know how I feel about it and knowing that that's how they felt about me the whole time, it's a whole circle moment. Because yeah, you always think as a kid, you're like, "Why do they hate me so much? Why are they being such dicks to me all the time?" Or, whatever it is, or but they just want the best for you, and now that you get to see that full circle, it's like, yeah, that's what they were trying to do the whole time. They were just trying to be the best parent they could, so, um, it's really cool. It's a super fun thing, so, well, I wish you all the best with as many kids as you want to come. We've taken the route of 2 and done, now we're doing some medical intervention, so, we're gonna be done at
Oh,
2. We're gonna be done at
you're
2.
getting the old scissor treatment, huh?
Yes, we figured so funny story, it's not exactly appropriate, but it is kind of appropriate. I didn't know that I was allergic to latex for 10 years and finally found
Oh,
out the hard way and so now it's
yeah,
like, well, we're gonna have to take some medical intervention here, and so I figured after she pushed out 2 kids, I can step into the plate and do a little change to
that's
my
a
body, so
that's a totally fair statement, yep. Yep,
she's done enough.
my
She's
bro
carried the backpack, so,
my
um
brother-in-law did the same thing. As soon as the 5th kid was, like, out and healthy, he's like, "Schedule that appointment, we're done."
Eh, 5 kids is a lot, I'd say,
Yeah.
my mom was actually saying that she ran into Kaylee the other night when she was grocery shopping, and I think she had all 5 kids with her, she's like, "Man," because my mom had 4 under 7 at one point, so she's like, "I know what you're going through, but it's a lot, it's a lot," but, I
My
mean,
goodness, yeah.
when she makes it out of it and has 5 kids, and then, I mean, how many umpteen grandkids and all the things, it'll be so cool. It'll be so worth it in the end.
No, she loves being a mom too, she's good at it.
I like to think I'm good at being a dad, I do what I can, but,
Yep.
you're right, it was like with Freya until she was about 1, it was really hard for me to connect or, like, pick up the cues, like, I'm just not great at picking up the cues of little toddlers and what they want and don't want. I've gotten a lot better at the second time around, which has helped me immensely and obviously helped the kid a lot too, so, um, but yeah, all good fun. It's a blessing being a dad, blessed being a father, and so, but yeah, if you were ever open to come back to the Midwest, I know I was saying that, Kansas City is obviously it's a very different place, where it's a city, but it doesn't feel like it, and there's a lot of rural areas, but, um, I don't know, I don't think we'll end up in Kansas City, I don't know. We've always looked I think Arizona might be too hot for us, but, no, we're in the same boat, we're like Montana, Idaho, even Colorado, those areas are freaking gorgeous. They're so beautiful, so, that way you could stay close to a city and still have all the city aspects, but eventually get some land maybe and have your own little, piece of paradise, I guess you could say. So, you
Yeah,
never know.
that's living next to a Costco is a life-changing experience.
Mhm. Hmm. I'd say if you've never done that, yeah, you don't know, and that's my mom doesn't even stop at our house before she gets here. She goes straight to Costco, loads up for the week, and then comes and sees us. So, very underrated product indeed. Very underrated. So. Well, let's see. Know some of these questions. I know you're, like I said, you're not the most touchy-feely guy on the planet. You know, a little ex-Marine, all the fun stuff. But
Oh
I like
yeah.
to see if you open up people a little bit and see what kind of what's in their head. So, what emotion do you find hardest to understand about yourself?
I think for me, and I was thinking about this a lot recently too, is I listen to a lot of podcasts, like kind of going over this stuff too, like Modern Wisdom and some of those other podcasts. But I don't know. I would say for me, the hardest emotion for me to understand about myself is just like why I'm so hard on myself all the time. Like I am my own worst enemy when it comes to criticism, what's going on. What like the worst thing that could happen in my head about just any given situation, whether it's projects, whether it's like hunting trips I'm going on or anything like that. And like just always in my head about stuff, just constantly in my head, like, hey, like you didn't do this good enough. You failed in this, like, hey, this wasn't up to par. I have an incredibly hard time um giving like any type of positive feedback to myself or if somebody gives me a compliment. I have an incredibly hard time of accepting any compliments for the most part. I just kind of look at it as, oh, I'm just supposed to do that, or hey, no, I could have done that better. And I don't know. That's something I battle with on a day to day basis. I think a lot of guys do for the most part. But yeah, that's something for me that yeah, I consistently and I'm sure I will always battle with it. And I don't know if it's necessarily the worst thing ever, but I also it's definitely not the greatest thing ever either. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like because yeah, every once in a while it's okay to say, hey, you did good. It's okay to say that. It's like it's okay to not be satisfied, but it's okay to be acknowledged that you did a good job in this, or like, hey, you're gonna do all right, or hey, you don't need to worry about all the things that you really can't control the outcome of some things and the way they go. Think, and that's something I'm trying to get better at too. Is just like understanding, like, hey, things that you can control, worry about it. Things that you can't, don't give them as much thought as you probably do. But yeah, what about for you? Is it like what do you something that you battle with on a day to day basis, or just in general?
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. And I can kind of tie in with that where it's like I'm always worried about trying to be the best husband and the best father. And I think the selfishness was a big emotion and something that I kind of struggled with is that forever it was just about me. It was always about me and what I wanted to do. And so Darian was always just tagging along. She always, no matter what it was, trying to, tag along with me. And it just was the selfishness just didn't allow me to see the bigger picture of like what we're trying to do together all the time. So and that was like with Oregon, maybe it wasn't the best thing to move her from her family at the time, but I said, you know what, I need to do it. So I moved us out to Oregon and then just all the different things that come with that. And so it took me until I think at least we were married, if not almost close to having a kid, where it was like, this is not about me anymore. Like, it's just not. And I think obviously becoming a parent helped with that a lot. But just the selfishness where it's just like I'm so consumed by my own thoughts and my own things. And I've done worked really hard to not be that way anymore. And so in being a dad of two, you just everything's about them, like I said. And so the biggest step was, I always wanted to live on the West Coast. I wanted to live and die on the West Coast. I really, really did. And so for me to move back here was a big change for me. It's something that it took a long time to at least acknowledge and be okay with. But at the end of the day, if it's the best thing for my wife and the best thing for my kids, that's what I have to do. So, but emotionally, yeah, being selfish was tough. And I like what you said too about, yeah, trying to be more. And I think I struggle with that too, where it's just like, am I being a good enough husband? Am I being a good enough father? Am I doing the things that I should be doing? If I'm not that day, yeah, just being really hard on myself, where it's just like, man, what are you doing? Like, why didn't you do that today? Or why weren't you better today? I think like you said, every man struggles with that. And I don't think there's anybody out there who doesn't. So, especially such a manly man as yourself, you're trying to, I know you, man, you're trying to do everything to the best of your abilities. And so that can be definitely a lot to deal with. So have you found any ways to kind of cope with that or any like stress relievers or anything like that to kind of bring you back to full circle?
The gym is one of my favorite outlets,
Mm,
to be honest with you. Getting up early, going to the gym, drop the kid off daycare, then go to the gym. Found like it's a great productive way, but on top of it, anything that's going on in your head, it's really good to just get some exercise or do something like that. That's what I typically like to do. Another thing that I was talking to some guys about a couple weeks ago, I was like, why is it so hard to do the stuff that you know you're supposed to do?
mm,
Like I just thought about that one morning, kind of like how you pointed out, oh, I should have done that today. Why didn't I do that today? And it's like you need to be doing this, you know you need to be doing that. Why are you spending all this time wasting on like social media, just scrolling through stuff, being like, what's going on with this? What's going on with that? It's like, that doesn't serve you to any capacity. But yeah, the outlet for me is the gym. That's where I go if I'm upset. It's where I go if I don't feel the best. If I'm just sitting there, like, being lazy, like, it's how I kind of get myself out of ruts and just try to stay consistent. And it doesn't mean I love going every day. It's just like I
Right.
get there, force myself to do it. And it's like building that discipline that you have to like just do the things you're supposed to do, because you're never going to always want to do it. You're never going to want to always do it. You're never going to wake up early. Waking up early sucks. Going to the gym in the
Oh
morning when
yeah.
it's dark sucks.
Yeah.
It doesn't get that cold in Arizona in the winter. Trust me, it does get colder in the mornings. You got to put a coat on. I know you Midwesterners are probably sitting there like, "Oh no, it's not cold at all. It's
It's
it's t-shirt and short weather out there."
yeah.
But it's hard to do all that stuff. But there's nothing in life that you'll ever do that's beneficial for you and will serve you that is easy.
Amen. That's a good quote. Um, yeah, I think the gyms for most of the people I've had on, gym is a great place to escape to. And it's something that I wish I could be more involved with. And then through all my different endeavors in life, I've kind of shit myself out of that opportunity physically. But no, it sounds like a great outlet, and it just gets you in the right spot. And I remember when I could go to the gym and do all those things. It's incredible. So, but yeah, there's nothing more defeating than when you get out of your car and the sun's still down and you're like, "Why the fuck am I up, dude? What am I doing?" But it's so good for you. It's so good to get up and take on the day. It really is. So I think that's
And you
awesome
feel
that you do
so
that.
good. You feel amazing early in the morning too. Like, you go into work and you're like, wow, I feel really good right now. Like, I feel amazing after just like go to the gym and quit getting out. But
Have you found that your bedtime has gotten increasingly shorter as you've gotten older? As in, like, I'm in
oh
bed by
yeah,
like 10 o'clock now every night, if not earlier. I think that's one of
I'm
the
a shooter
craziest
for like
things.
9. I
Yeah.
try to shoot for 9 o'clock every night, and then I toss a turn most of the time. But yeah, I shoot for 9 every night because it's like, if I'm gonna get up at 5, I got to do that.
Mm. 5's early. 5's very early, but no, I think that's awesome because I've just noticed now, yeah, man, if it's 9 o'clock and I'm still moving around, that's pretty impressive. And I just remember a time where I was like, "Oh, it's only 9 o'clock. We've got so much time left in the night. You got till midnight or whatever it was." So, um, like you said, it's discipline. It's just knowing that, it's been now where I know my kid's gonna get up at 6:45 every single morning, so I can either choose to stay up and deal with the repercussions all day tomorrow, or I can just go to bed and deal with them now. And I thought that was always the craziest thing growing up with my parents was like they would always go to bed around 9 o'clock, and I was just like, why would you kill the day so easily? Like, why are you going to bed so fast? It's like, dude, because they're fucking tired. Like, when you're done with the day, you're exhausted. Like, you've been up all goddamn day dealing with kids and doing the things. So, it makes me feel old though. It makes me feel old. And I know we're close to 30, which is kind of fucking bizarre to say, but
The fact that we have a
I
10-year reunion this year.
was gonna ask you about that. I was saying, are you planning on going back?
Thinking about it, I think I said yes to the RSVP. So, and
Mhm.
when is it? June 28th or something like that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I might make it. I might make it out that way for a weekend. But yeah, that's another thing is, traveling with kids, it's like you can't go back home and not bring the kids.
Yeah,
That is
it's
like
not really an option. You're
you will
right.
be shunned.
Well, and our
So,
thing is, I don't do you have any animals that you guys have?
not yet. We're gonna have
Okay.
a puppy this August, but
Upcoming puppy. Well, then that's the other obstacle that you run into. So yeah, I have 5 animals. So now it's like even I can't just leave. It's like, yeah, I've got 2 kids and 5 animals. So we got to figure out where everything is going and what they're doing so I can even leave the house. Um, I wanted to go. I really did. My Darian has a family wedding that weekend, and I think that's the Father's Day weekend, if I'm not mistaken, too. Um, it
I think
might.
Father's Day is earlier, isn't it?
I don't know. I think it's Sunday, maybe it's not. Maybe it's the week before that, but either way, we got a wedding to go to, so yeah, I don't think I'll be able to make it back, but, that'd be interesting. I know, I haven't openly talked about it yet, but I always found it funny that I was actually the class president, but I didn't put together the reunion, so somebody else did it. I won't name names, but I was like, "You know what? By all means, if you wanna go ahead and put that together, then you take full charge." So,
Go ahead. Take the
Yeah,
reins. Yep.
I didn't bother me one bit about that, so,
Yep.
but it's good. I'm glad everybody's gonna be able to get back together, everyone who can, and see everybody, and that's, kinda like why I like doing this is so I can catch up with people because I don't want it to be just, oh, once in every 10 years I come say hi to somebody and, all that stuff, so, letting people know that you're there all the time, I think is very important, so, um, well, let's transition to what is something you once strongly believed in but eventually outgrew?
And I was heard when I was reading those questions you sent me, that was one I was really trying to think about, like, because a lot of the like, I guess I wouldn't even say necessary belief, but something that I've definitely kind of grown out of is just caring a lot what other people do. I'm like, I catch myself every once in a while, but like I'm just getting to the point where it's like you do you, man. Like it's your life, I don't care, like type of stuff. And even if it's like something I don't necessarily agree with, it's just like, hey, that's their life. They can do whatever they want to with it. I don't have to agree with it. Maybe that's something like living on the West Coast and like being around like a lot of different cultures and all that's kind of allowed me to understand and learn a little bit is it's like the Midwest is like I said, I mean, like we both said, it's a great place to raise a family, but in smaller towns, you definitely identify like it's very closed minded, do a lot of different things. And it's not necessarily saying like I accept every different thing in the world, but it's also pointing to like it's okay if people are different. It doesn't bother me at all. Um, and the way people act and what they do or how they dress or what they go do about their day. I'm like, it doesn't bother me at all. Like I'll be somebody else's biggest supporter if that's what makes them happy, realistically, as long as it doesn't affect me in any way negatively.
Yep. I think you're right. The West Coast definitely opens your mind up with that.
It
Whether
does.
how conservative you are or not, you go to the West Coast and you're going to have to experience some different things that you're not accustomed to, and
Yeah.
you'll get used to it or you won't. And so, I think you're absolutely right. I always tried to have the West Coast vibes living in the Midwest, where I was just like trying to be cool with everything and all that fun stuff. But like working in Portland was one of those things where you just everything you saw and everybody you interacted with, you're just like, hey, this is how the rest of the world kind of interacts with each other. Everybody's their own self. They be who they want to be. They're not going to do anything crazy to, object. But you're right. When in the Midwest, there's the stereotypes where I even say now with I go to people and I have my arms are covered in tattoos. Recently, I cut my hair, but when I have my hair down the middle of my back, everybody just gives you like the you can just see it on their face. They don't have to say a goddamn word, but their judgment is just like, that's who you are, huh? And it's like, dude. You don't have a
Yep.
clue who I am, you don't know what I'm about,
They're
so
like, look at this felon over here.
yes, yes, 100%, and I don't ever blame anybody because I probably do kinda look like a little something and one
Yeah.
another, but, no, I'm just like, "Dude, who cares? Who cares? It's not that big of a deal." So, but that's cool, I think that's a good answer. Well, what would you say is the most painful truth that you've had to accept about yourself?
That you can't do everything. Um, I'm definitely a type of person where I like to show up for other people, do a lot of stuff, acts of service for other people. And I like to be that like go-to guy for like just about everything. Because I just feel like I can handle the pressure for the most part, and I like to just depend on myself for and like helping other people out. Uh, but I do realize like, hey, why don't you just focus on a few things at a time, or why don't you just focus on like this or focus on that? And I think ever since Theodore's been born, that's been the biggest thing is like that helped me kind of realize that it's like, hey, you can't do everything. Like, why don't you focus on this? Why don't you like really pay attention to this and do this as best as you can and do this right? Because like you said earlier, you only get one shot to do that. One shot for that kid's for the rest of his life. So that's his childhood. That's how you raise him. That's his everything. Right. So
Which is crazy, but true.
it is crazy. But yeah, for me, it's like I can't do everything. As much as I want to and be there and go and hang out with everybody, do everything, or like do this for somebody, or be at this stage of my life. Like it's there's a path. I just got to keep following it. Eventually, it'll it'll uh, it'll all work out eventually. So
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce our new sponsorship with West River Whiskey Company. West River Whiskey Company started as a dream in the summer of 2020. While working with Indian Motorcycle, the owner, Joel, made great friends with some key executives at Jack Daniels. They successfully opened their business in April of 2021. They started their journey off with Jack Daniels products, and after just 6 months into operations, they were approached by a business partner, Gordon Oman of Black Fork Farms Distilling. Over the last several years, they have built the West River and Black Fork brands, introducing the world to South Dakota bourbon. Starting with just a handful of bourbon styles, they now proudly pour and sell over 15 different bourbon products, as well as Black Fork's top vodkas and gins. In 2024, West River was named Deadwood Business of the Year by a group of their peers. They strive to give back to the community that has given them so much, as both Joel and Don proudly serve on the Deadwood Fire Department. You can find their website link in my bio, where you can get direct access to their merchandise. As always, thank you for your support and enjoy the rest of the podcast. I think that's one of the things that I struggle with too is that, like, obviously the boys, like all of our buddies that we used to be able to
Yeah.
hang out with all the time and do all those things with, where it's like, I want to be involved, I really do. And it's really hard to manage your time. And not only that, but just be there for the events. It's just like, I used to be able to play games every weekend with the boys and talk to them as much as humanly possible, but now it's just like I don't even remember the last time I jumped on the games. It's just you're just so busy, and so I think that's definitely a realization that I've had to come to in life is that as much as I want to be involved, but that's also, I think, a good thing too, because I've realized that I just gotta pick up the phone, if there's somebody I wanna stay in contact with or just wanna be present in their life, I think this podcast has given me a great outlet to do that, but it's also changed my mind where it's like, we live in a day and age of technology that you can be there for everybody, you can, and, it just takes a couple seconds to go out of your way to go open Snapchat text or, anything between and just check up on people, and so, I think I've gotten a lot better at doing that, and because I felt that pressure of like, why am I not there for people all the time? And I always tell people when I first moved to the West Coast, I was so bad at connecting with people. I was so focused on trying to make it, so focused on trying to be the person I wanted to be that years went by, and I was just like, man, what am I doing? Why am I not staying connected with the people that mean the most to me? And that really hurt. That really bothered me for a long time. So I think I've definitely flipped it where it was even with my family. Like I always tell the story of my sister where she's like, dude, why don't you like me anymore? And I was like, what do you mean, Lou? And she's like, well, you never talk to me. And I'm like, oh, I know. It's just, it's not on purpose. It's not like I'm purposely ignoring you. It's just life gets hard. Life gets tough. And so um I think you're right. That hits the nail on the head with the truth because that's reality. And then the next thing you know, years go by and fuck, time goes by.
Yeah, and I
My
guess
life.
another one too to add to it that kind of is something like I struggle with or recognize like validating like, hey dude, like you're doing all right, like you're doing okay, like you are enough for what you're doing, like you're doing everything you can because it's easy to get caught up in like, well, I didn't do this, I'm not doing this, I'm not where I want to be, and it's almost as self-destructing as you can get on yourself if you're just constantly just bad about yourself. Like you're just like, hey, I'm not enough. I can't do enough. I can't be there for that person. I can't do this. And just kind of eats you up inside a little bit. So that's something I struggle with quite a bit. It's just like being able to tell myself like, hey, you know what, Nick, like you're enough. You're good, man. Like you're doing all right. Like you're your life's going okay. You're doing pretty good. You have a decent job, you have your health. It's like you should be thankful for every day you wake up and you get to do all those things because there's many people that are way more gracious and thankful than you are, and they don't have half the stuff you have.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's a great way to look at life, because it's true. I mean, that's the reality of things. So, you know, I I don't know. It's so weird because I've definitely taken the West Coast personality of the glass half full, where I just look at everything on the bright side, like you said, because there's so much negative in the world that you could easily get lost in it, and make you a lot less of a person. So, that's awesome. I love that. I love that.
I read a
Um,
I read a book that talked about that. It was talking about perception versus perspective, and it's like you perceive these facts, and this is what it outlays, but your perspective is how you're going to take that going forward. Like you could get all these things, and they could be just terrible, but it's like your perspective is how you're going to like make that positive or keep a positive attitude about it.
yeah. I like it. I think you're absolutely right. Well, that kind of turns into the next question I have for you. It kind of turns into like the faith and spirituality kind of aspects of things. But where do you personally stand on the idea of God, would you say?
I believe there is a God. I'm definitely not the most practicing. I would say I'm Christian. I'm not the most practicing religious individual or Christian, I would say, out there. I definitely don't go to church every Sunday. Have never read the Bible through and through. I also kind of advocate, I don't think you necessarily, and people might totally disagree with me and that's fine. But in my opinion, I don't think you need to go to church every Sunday to be a Christian. I don't think you need to go to church every Sunday to believe in God and believe in a higher faith and all of that. Now, do I think going to church is bad? Absolutely not. I don't. But yeah, no, I do believe in God, and it's something I try to like tap into here and there to be like understand like, hey, like what is my actual stance on it all? Like, because I do believe there is a higher power, but sometimes I have trouble in like just like, hey, what do I do to get more in touch with my side of faith? Because I'm really not the most in touch with it for the most part.
No, I think that's a great way to look about it because it seems that everybody that I've brought on and asked if they believe in God is yes, but it's always that like we just aren't finding great ways to practice religion sometimes, and so I think that seems to be a very popular answer. Is yes, I believe, but I don't know how to practice it, and so it's always drives my curiosity of how people stay in touch with it. Is it through prayer? Is it through Bible reading? Everybody kind of has their own ifs, ands, or buts of how to stay connected with the religion, all that stuff. So, um, have you ever had kind of like a spiritual experience or any kind of experience that says, "Hey, yes, this is why I believe in God," or has it always kind of just been a faith that you've kind of just brought up throughout your whole life?
For me, it's just pretty much been faith that I've been had throughout my whole life. I mean, I think we probably, I don't know if you did when we were kids, but we went to Bible school and all that stuff growing up, and then went to church a few times. And then in the military, went to church every Sunday in boot camp. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was as much because of a faith thing, a faith driven. It's here just to get away from drill instructors for a few hours, but probably the latter on that one. But yeah, it's just something I've always had faith in, and I kind of like. I don't know who said this quote, but it was like if you look at one lesson from the Bible, for the most part, if you implement it into your daily life, your life will usually it'll always improve. Like if you look at the Ten Commandments, like that's just you're being a decent person, like you're being a good person. If you apply the Ten Commandments to your life, it's just good rules of thumb. Just be a good person, like be honest, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. Those are all like moral compasses that I would like to align with and teach my son about as well. Like, hey, just be a good person at the end of the day. Care about other people, care about your neighbor, like love each other just for who you are. Like you don't have to always think the same or do the same things, but just like love each other, respect each other. Like,
I think that's awesome. Yeah, and I love what you said about basic because I had the same experience where it was like, at first I didn't go the first couple weeks because I was like, well, I don't really want to practice that or whatever. But then I started to realize that, oh, Sunday's the only day, the first part of the day where you get to do what the fuck you want because of religious whatever. So then I was like, well, I gotta go now because I want to get off base. I think that's funny because yeah, I tell the story all the time. So I have claimed that I'm a Buddhist now, and so I practice my religion a little bit differently than everybody else. I always tell people, and I don't think they understand, if it wasn't for the military, I wouldn't be that way because of those Sunday
yeah,
services. Where people don't
yeah.
understand, where it's like, are you going to sit in a barracks for 4 hours and twinkle your thumbs and clean, or are you going to go out and experience something else? And nobody else really gets that. So that's what I did. It just went to a Buddhist service out of the blue, and next thing you know, it's been with me for the last 8 years. So um, but it's just so funny. Yeah, nobody else kinda gets that, so I think that's really cool.
What kind of drove you to be a Buddhist or join like go into the Buddhist faith or Buddhism?
Yeah, it was I had already been in college for 2 years, and then I joined the military, and I was kind of looking through Christianity and trying to take some courses and do things like that because I grew up believing in Christianity and everything like that. Um, It just wasn't sticking. It wasn't sticking with me that, I was trying to pray, I was trying to read the Bible, I was trying to do all those things, and it just never stuck. It just never felt like because I feel with, like, religion, it's supposed to give you a relief. You have faith in something, you believe in a higher power, whatever it is, and it gives you that kind of relief, or it gives you a guidance, and I never stuck. It never gave me guidance, it never really gave me what I wanted to. And so, at Basic, yeah, they were doing all the things where it's like on Sunday services, and at the time, we were still in the Afghanistan war, and so they were like, "Do you wanna go to Muslim services or do you wanna go to Buddhist services?" And I was like, I don't know if I felt like it was a trick." You know how basically they try and, like, trick you and all these things? I thought it was honest God a trick, and I was like, "Oh, shit, they're trying to make me go to a Muslim service, then they're gonna smoke me while I go outside or something like that." But, so I was like, "Alright, I'll go Buddhism, I'll try that out." And so but it was the fact that it's so simple. With Buddhism, it's all about meditation, and it's all about trying to clear your head and basically get get the perspective of life, that everything is much bigger than you, and that you're just a living organism on this planet, and you should be happy and grateful for every second that you get on the planet. And so, it was huge though during basic because it was at night when you can't talk to your loved ones for months at a time, and you're just stuck in that position, and you know how exactly how it feels when you're there and you're like 3 months into it and you're like, man, I just want to go home. I want to do these things. I want to see my girlfriend. I want to see my family. And so, but that gave me through meditation, the holistic perspective of life, and like be able to reflect on everything. And that's what meditation is. Basically, it's kind of like prayer where it's just a reflection. And so being able to reflect on what I had and what I was going back to and doing the things that I'm doing, just stuck. And that, so right away, it was just like every night before I'd go to bed, sitting in the barracks and just do a little meditation, whether it's just close my eyes, start with a little chant. And now I don't do the chant anymore. I just kind of meditate and get to a certain place in my mind where I do some breathing exercises. But yeah, it's just something to get you to have the right view of life. And I think that's what all religions try and do, is just try to get you to see perspective on life. And so whatever it takes to get to that point, I think that's whatever it takes. And that's why I always say I think it's great if you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim,
Mhm.
whatever you are, as long as you're having a good
Yeah.
outlook on life and being a better person because of it, then by all
Yep.
means do what you must. So,
100%.
um, but yeah, so if it wasn't for the military, I don't know if I would ever found it, because people to this day still are like, well, how do you even practice it? It's like I've just practiced on my own. There's really nobody
Yeah.
that has ever taught me. I've read books about it. I've done lots of videos just so I can try and enhance and be better at it. But um, I'm not gonna shave my head and go live in the mountains anytime soon. So, but I still practice. I still practice and do my
Yeah.
meditation as much as I can. So, gives me a good outlook on life. Especially, I think everyone does it too, whether they believe it or like acknowledge it or not. You meditate when you like, say for instance, you're stressed out and you just take a second, take a couple deep breaths. I mean, that's essentially what it is. You're just kind of clearing your head, meditating a little bit, getting back to your own self. So, um, it's kinda cool, but, when would you say do you feel most connected with God? Would you say is it through prayer, through acts that you do, or anything else in between?
To be honest, I would say it's when I do some of these like backcountry hunting trips, like when it's just
Mm,
me in the middle of nowhere, miles back there, like you're just like in the quite literal God's country. Like I had a elk hunt up in Montana last September, and it was about I did 7 days in the backcountry, and like just like for the first four of them, it was just by myself, and it was just like wow, that this is like surreal. It's just like really cool. It's like beautiful. It's like this is crazy. Like you realize how small you really are when you're in places like that. Like when you're just on top of a mountain and you're just overlooking an entire valley or drainage, you're like, holy cow, like I'm just a speck. Like I'm nothing compared to all of this.
and it's those moments too where you get perspective on life. Yeah, it's amazing to have that, because you're absolutely right. When you look at the grand scheme of things, a lot of the times we get so caught up in our own lives thinking that we're so important, or the people around us are so important, but we're just, like you said, we're just a speck, man. We were literally nothing when it comes to the creation of Earth and everything that goes on in Earth. So, um, that would be amazing. I as a parent and everything in between with life, you don't get very many moments where it's just you by yourself. And so, I always try and do like at night when I put the kids to bed, go outside on the porch and just take a couple breaths or something like that. But I can't imagine being out there for a week with just nothing but land and just the opportunity.
But yeah,
That's got to
no
be
no cell phone
euphoric.
reception or nothing. It was,
Woo!
yeah, it was cool. It was a lot of fun. VW actually came out for a part of that too and joined me for a
Okay.
little bit of it, but it was fun to get out there. We actually just got done about a couple weeks ago. We were out in New Mexico for a few days, so about 5 days hunting turkeys. Which that was a cool trip as well. Um but no, it's an awesome experience doing all that, and it's definitely surreal when you're out there. And thankfully Karina, she's fantastic with it, and she does afford me those opportunities to where like, hey, if I do get a good tag or I want to go on a hunting trip, I've never heard her say no to any of those. So she on her end, she holds it down when I'm out there doing it. So I can't do all of that without her. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, shout out to V-Dub, dude. I haven't been able to connect with him in a while, so I got to connect with him.
I know
Um, what a
he's out
guy.
in western South Dakota, just being a mountain man.
Being the mountain man.
Yep,
We got both of our kids trying to talk to us right now.
I
That's
know
fun.
we do.
Um, that's awesome though. That's a good problem to have. A good problem to have.
It is. Yeah, if your
Uh,
kids wanna hang out with you, that's a good timing.
Yeah, yeah. But no, I gotta reach out to that guy because I know what the West. Actually, Landon is right now is out there doing his rotations. For pharmacy, he's in his final year of pharmacy, so he's out in Rapid City for like
Wow.
6 weeks. And I think
Yeah.
my dad's going out there to see him in a week from now too. So, um, I haven't been out to the Black Hills since I was a kid. I know that's like when
It's
I'm
cool.
looking at places to live in the future where I need mountains. I think that's one of the biggest things about that I found about myself is that I like mountains are an essential to me. Like I love the beach and I love the ocean and everything like that, but like dude, the mountains are something different. Like you just don't feel closer to earth than when you're in the mountains. You feel closer to life. It's so weird.
They're so cool. They're so cool. It makes the hill country of Iowa. The hill country of Iowa is beautiful too, but it's like mountains are so much cooler.
It's not the
They're
same.
so much cooler.
I think, yeah, I just can't connect with the land until I'm like in a mountainous setting. Like I just connect with the land so
Yeah.
much more.
I
I don't
think it
know.
has a lot to do with just the underdevelopment that the mountains are. Like it's just so rugged. It's so vast that it's like there's no development. Like it's really cool just to get lost out there and like be miles away from anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, that was me and Darren, we went on a cabin trip when we were out in Oregon. First time I'd ever been anywhere, obviously I did all the camping and shit with the military and stuff, but like to truly go in the mountains, like just 10 miles up into the mountains and get a little Airbnb and just be away from everyone was the most euphoric feeling in the world. I never felt that in my life, but just like to be away for 4 days, just up in the mountains, like you just have everything you brought in your log cabin and we start our own fires, like shit like that. Like whew, there's nothing better, man. There's nothing cooler. And so I've been itching to get back to that. I think that's the thing that I miss the most in Kansas City is that I just need an escape route out. And there's not really anywhere to escape here. There's some forestry and stuff here, nothing crazy, like just the woods, but it's just not the same. It's just not the
No,
same. So
it's everything is so simple out there. It's just simple.
yeah.
Yep.
It is. Well, I guess going back to the origins of humanity and kind of with faith and everything like that, do you take the stance of that we were put here with intention, or do you think that we were kind of evolved by circumstance and chance?
I think we were put here for intention. And I think each individual person, there's their intention that they have an intention on this earth to do something, and what that is that's what the whole point of your living your life is. Where it's like you're just trying to figure out, hey, what was my reason to be on this earth? What was I supposed to do? What's the path I'm supposed to be on? Because a lot of people think it's like making a ton of money or like trying to be successful or what success looks like to each individual person. But a lot of it, when you look back to it, material things really never make you happy. But like service of others and servitude that's what actually fulfills your heart, and like caring for other people and doing stuff for other people. That is more you receive more gratitude from that. And I ultimately think like to some capacity, every person or to a large capacity, people are here for that, to like serve, like help other people and help other people out in whatever way they can or whatever that looks like for them. But yeah, I think we were put here for a reason. What that reason is, I don't know the full capacity. That's just my thought of it. I don't know what the end game is, but it's that's my belief, or that's the what I believe in is we're here for something.
Yeah. That's a question I always like to ask people too, is like, what is the purpose? Because some people like to take the angle of each individual has their own purpose versus maybe the purpose of life is a whole purpose as humans. And so it's always interesting to see what route people take with that, what they believe in. And, I think you're right. I think each day can almost provide its own purpose. Like, each day you can find a purpose in it. And so, it's such a hard question because yeah, it's like with the intention, it's like, okay, so if we were put here with intention, then when did it start, right? When did all of this creation start? When did all these things start? And how have we evolved since we were put here with intention is another thing that I like to look at because obviously the history brain in me just likes to run with it. And so I like to put physical dates on
Yeah.
everything and like all that stuff. But um is also hard because we'll never be able to know. We're never gonna know when everything started or how everything was created, but, I always like to say that life the whole purpose of life is to live, and so whether that encompanies, you doing the dishes today so that gets the house cleaned up, to going out and being selfless and, maybe feeding, the homeless shelter, whatever the case may be, your purpose can change, but I think as long as you're creating more life, I think you're fulfilling life's purpose, whether that's being a good neighbor, being a good friend, keeping the positivity of life going, or being a parent. I mean, as long as you're creating life, I think you're fulfilling its purpose. So, um, what do you think about evolution then? Do you think that we evolved in like the last couple of thousands of years, or what is your take on evolution if you believe with intention?
I mean, I do think, yeah, we have evolved, obviously. I mean, there's enough historical evidence to point to that as well. Like, as a species, we definitely evolve. We evolve even today. I mean, if you look at human beings back in the 1920s to where we are now, like physically, is there big changes? Maybe so. But just in the way we do things, the technology that we provided and everything that we're doing now, it's like, yeah, we're absolutely evolving constantly. And it's cool to witness. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And you even see it in like not talking about humans here, but like just in animals and like where they live. Like take a desert climate like white-tailed deer out here. They're white-tailed deer, but they're not the same one that you have in Kansas or in Iowa. Like they're completely different. The way they act, where they live, what they look like, everything's completely different. So it's like we adapt and we to whatever environment that we're in.
Yeah. Well, I've not been able to really talk to anybody that's a big hunter like yourself. So I always like to ask, I see like human beings as just another living organism, where some people say like humans have like a soul, they have all these different things, all these different purpose. As like a hunter, do you feel that like the living organisms have their own souls or have their own identities, and then you're just taking that from them to feed yourself? Or how do you kind of go about when the purpose of hunting?
So, and that's something I've always thought about too. There's a lot of Native American, or Native Americans used to believe like with like the whole lodgepole, they put like a bear skull in their lodgepole or something like that. And the thought was with like that the bear would look down on them as they're using every part of that animal and be like, hey, if you're gonna get killed by somebody like that he cares about the animals. I like to think there is. I like to think they do have a soul. I like to think that they um now, animals, do they think the way we do? They don't have that ability to reason as much as we really think they do. They live in the moment. They're like, I'm hungry, I gotta eat, I'm thirsty, I gotta drink. What was that noise? Type of life that I live. They just live in the moment. They fully live in the moment. But I think if you're a hunter or a sportsman and you don't think that way, I think you lose touch with like that's a living animal too. You have to respect it. And it's like you killed it, you shot it, you hunted, you have a responsibility to that animal to use it in any to every capacity that you can, and it's a very respectful thing to do. Obviously, there's laws that make you have to abide by that anyway, but even if there wasn't, you should. Like, what's the point of just killing wasting a life for no reason on that?
Yeah, that's always I've never been a hunter, I've never really done any hunting myself, and so I'm always curious with yeah, with people like that, where if you take the stance that everything has, like, a purpose and a soul and everything like that, how do you justify taking that animal? But, to your point, yeah, if you're gonna use it for, nourishment of yourself and others and everything like that, and you're fully using it, then there's a purpose, so basically you're fulfilling that maybe that's the animal's purpose, honestly, when you think about it that way, and that's where I was just, like, with you mentioned bears. I was always when people said they went bear hunting, I'm like, "Do you eat bear meat? What do you do with the bear?" And so, but, like, deer hunting makes perfect sense to me because you can feed yourself. Do you, like, follow the bear meat? Do you eat bear meat, or what do you do
So
with bears?
I suck at bear hunting, so I've never shot a bear yet.
Gotcha.
But the mountain lion, I eat the mountain lion that I shot.
That's
Yep.
cool.
So and there's plenty of people that eat bear meat. They love it. They revere it as like one of the best meats. I have yet to try it yet, so I don't have a full opinion on it. I'm excited for the day when that does happen, and I can't wait to try it. But yeah, I'm a firm believer. Everything you kill, you got to eat for the most part. Like I guess coyotes, I would never. It's I'll call the betterment of other species by getting some of the coyotes out of there. That's
That's
what
fair.
I'll do.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
Which is wild that we actually have had some we've had coyotes. I have pictures now where they literally we have like this like fence, but then have like this foyer almost where it's just like some shrubbery and so on and so forth. We've seen coyotes in the middle of the day 3 times now in the last couple of weeks, where it's just like comes up and lays on my fence, and I'm like, that's such weird behavior because I'm pretty sure they're not supposed to be doing any of that, but um. It's kind of unique. It makes for a good picture. It looks like a dog. Honestly, they don't look that much different than
Yeah,
your household animals, but
they
they're
really don't.
nature's wild beast.
They are. They're cool. They're a really cool animal. They do something called compensatory breeding. So where if you like let's say you shot two or three of them, or they lost two or three in a pack, the next litter will fulfill what was lost.
Really?
That's
Huh.
why they're a really hard animal to like eradicate. Not that we want to eradicate them, but to like really manage populations of them. Because you'd have to stay on top of it nonstop because of that compensatory breeding, and that's how they're just everywhere and they're in large numbers in most places.
That's crazy. I did not know that. It's kinda cool, but it's not because, like you said, they're just kind of a pest to
Yeah,
society, but, I mean, there's a reason
yeah,
they're pests is 'cause th they can do it. Which I
yeah. They
is
serve a
there
purpose.
is there any other species that's like that?
Well, I'm sure there is. I don't know them all off the top of my head. I would assume some rodent species are probably the
Mm,
same. I would assume rabbits are similar. I don't know predator wise how many of them are similar in that regard. Bears definitely are not compensatory breeders, but they're not pack animals either. Wolves, maybe. I don't know for sure. Um, but yeah, I would say wolves probably aren't, just given their large, vast ranges that they cover, and like whereas coyotes, like they typically stay within at a certain amount of like certain mile range. They don't like migrate with um herds of animals or anything like that as much. So
that's cool. Honestly, I never thought about that, which is kinda crazy, but, well, that kinda leads so, with being a hunter and then obviously thinking that things have souls, let's turn it more towards, like, humans again. What do you think happens after you die? Or what do you think happens in general when you take a life?
the faith, what I believe is I believe um you go to that like judgment day. You kind of you just I guess really don't know to the full extent. I would like to think that when you pass away, you go into like a like into heaven, like in the good days where it's like you go to see everyone that you loved, or if you're admitted into heaven. I don't guess I haven't given it the full amount of thought, but I have faith that like, hey, when you're whenever that day is for you to go, like whenever that day comes for you, is like you're going to go to a place where you're just surrounded by your loved ones. If you did well on this earth, you did good on this earth, and you believed in God or believed in Jesus Christ, like or believed in whoever that you believed in whatever afterlife that you believed in your entire life. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of I've never. That's the other side of it too. Is like there's not many people that have like reviews about it of like what actually
No.
happened. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's I haven't given it a ton of like forethought, but I think that's just like what I would like to think happens, or the faith I have that happens. But
Yeah, and that's I mean, that's kinda why I like to ask questions too is because, sometimes you don't put a lot of thought into that, and but at the same time, everyone and everything, as you know, is gonna meet that ultimate ending, and so it's important to think, but it's like you said too, it's everyone gets to have an opinion because everybody gets to go through it. Everybody's gonna have to experience that, so whether you like to believe that you're gonna go to a nice pearly gate or you just believe that you get put into the soil and that's just kinda the end of it, everybody gets an opinion on it, so that's why I like to ask about it, but I
don't know if it was
personally
all. Yeah,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was just
I
saying,
was gonna say
I personally take the side of things where I just think that life just ends, where it's like, for instance, with the animals, where it's like they were a living organism, but then they cease to exist after we take their lives, or if they die. I just don't think we're that different. I just think that, a lot of times as humans, we think that we're special because we maybe have a soul or maybe just, we're that intelligent, all those things. But I just don't take that stance. I just don't think that we're that unique. So I think we just like every other living organism, just go into the dirt and move on to whatever happens after.
I don't know if it was on your podcast. I heard it. Maybe it was one of the episodes. You'd be able to tell me, but it was one of your guests you had on said something along the lines like if you imagine like you lived your entire life thinking like you think like um and it just ends and just like it just goes dark, and then you go into this afterlife. You're like, holy shit, it's real this whole entire time. It's like, but it's like you didn't believe. So it's kind of like one of those. It's a double edged sword. It's like
Hmm.
not even double edged sword, but it's just one of those things. Like, what if it does exist too? And there's no, it's all faith driven. Everything is an element of
Yes.
faith on this. So it's like just trying to believing in that. And it's like if I would rather be on the latter side of like believing in that, Because if it doesn't come true, then it's like, okay, it just didn't come true. But if it does, it's like, holy cow, yeah, I was right all along.
Introducing West River Caramel Whiskey. West River Whiskey proudly presents their caramel flavored whiskey, a proud product of South Dakota. A perfect balance of high quality whiskey and smooth caramel, crafted to provide a rich experience with every sip. The whiskey used in their caramel whiskey is double pot distilled and aged for 5 years in American white barrels, creating a deep, refined character before carefully blended with caramel flavors. Rooted in agriculture and crafted with care, this bottle represents the spirit of the Midwest: hard work, patience, and authenticity. Whether enjoying neat, over ice, or mixed into your favorite cocktail, West River Caramel Whiskey delivers smooth, warm, with a touch of sweetness that lingers long after the glass is empty. You can get yours now at westriverwhiskeyco.com. Ships to Alaska, Hawaii, Massachusetts, Oregon, South Dakota, and Utah. Yeah. It that's almost one of the points that I struggle with Christianity is that it's almost like a fear tactic. You know what I'm saying? Like where it's like, what if we're right? What if there is a God and this whole time you didn't praise him and now you're just gonna go to eternal damnation? And it's such a fear factor. It's such a big, and so I don't like that side of things where it's like, well,
Yeah,
if you don't believe in me, then you're going to hell. It's like, and I think that's what I struggled with growing up a lot of times too, was that was the message. It was like, oh well, if you don't practice this way or you don't believe this way, then you're going to hell. And it's like, but you're right. It's like, do you either choose to live a full life where you believe and you believe the whole time just in case of the afterlife, but at the end of the day, if you're wrong, you're wrong, so be it. It would suck if you went your whole life mistreating it, and then at the end of it, it said, "Well, you didn't believe in me, so now you're just kinda go to wherever the realm goes," and it's a risk you take. So, yeah, you either risk spending a lot of your life or most of your life believing in something or you don't. And that's kinda just the way it is. But I don't know.
but at the end of the day, it's he has the ultimate decision. So it's like that's what everybody down here says. It's like who knows if there is one, and he might be like, well, like you never know. You really don't know. He has the final call on it.
Yeah, no, I just think it's so interesting because, yeah, especially if you're, doing hunting and seeing things like that, like seeing animals or living things take their last breath, like it's got to give you such a different perspective on life and like just what your in turn your faith and your belief into a certain way. So, um, I think that's cool. But I guess sticking on the death topic, if there was one thing people to remember about you when you die, what would you want it to be?
Hope it would be like he was a good man, like just simple as that. Like he was a good dude. He showed up when he needed to show up. He was a good father. I hope my son would look back and be like, man, I had a great dad. Like we did a lot together. We had a lot of fun together. He showed me a lot. He gave me a lot of life lessons. That's what I would hope. Realistically, just, he was a good dude. Just a good dude. Nothing in one particular, but like, yeah, I would say if there is a title, probably like a great dad. That would be the best. If I died, and he was like he was a great dad. That would be I did everything right. That'd be the one thing that I need.
You can't argue with that. Can't argue with that at all. And that's what I like to make the argument is I don't think that like maybe our souls move on. I think who we are lives on through people. And I think that's why it's one of the most important things that you can do is whether even if you don't have kids or raise somebody, to have good enough relationships that you've rubbed off on them enough that it can carry on through life. But I do think that's almost one of the most important reasons why we're here is to recreate and procreate and to pass down everything that who you are to the next person so that they can share themselves with the world and so on and so forth, and that creates society. I truly believe that. I think that you being yourself and being a good person and then creating more of people similar or like-minded to you, it creates societies. And so, um, I think it's extremely important, but I think that's a great answer. And, a lot of people be like, oh, that's such a simple answer, but it's not. Like being truly, if you were to go your whole life and someone to look back at your life or think about you and say that was a great man, it's one of life's biggest fulfillments. I mean, there's just no
Yeah.
no other way about it. And so I take the same route as you, man, where it's just like I don't need I don't need all the accolades. I don't need all the money, all the different tangibles. At the end of the day, if someone can look back and smile when they say Dylan Ellis and they just smile or like, oh, that was the guy. That was a good dude. I mean, what else could you ask for? I mean, honestly, I don't know. I think that's
100%. And I
cool.
like that. that you live on through other people after that from what you showed them or what you taught them or just the memories that they had with you. Like,
Right.
yeah, I like that a lot. That's good.
Yeah. Um, well, moving on kind of society then, I would say. So what do you think modern society takes most for granted with our human existence?
To be honest, I think it's just you see it a lot more in big cities, but it's just everybody's too caught up in themselves is what it seems like to me. And it's not to say you don't need to work on yourself and like be selfish in the sense of like work on yourself to be a better person type of thing. But I think it gets lost in translation a lot of the times where it's like it kind of gets used as like, well, everyone's in my way. Everyone's in my way. And it's like it's the opposite of like it's the opposite of progress. You're not benefit. You're just being rude to people. You're being an asshole to people. You're going out here and just you're like, oh, this person's in my way. I can't get this because of this person. It's like all the blame game, all the lack of accountability that a lot of people have nowadays is it's frustrating to see because it's like you could never get anywhere in life if all you ever do is say, "I can't do it because of this. Can't do it because of that. Can't do it because of that." So it's just um, getting so caught up in yourself and thinking that you're not where you are because of other people.
That's a great point. I think the self accountability is a huge aspect. Like you said, people just aren't, and I don't know. I personally believe that anything that happens in my life is due to like a cause and effect, like a karma per se. So I think that yeah, if life's beating me down or whatever, and maybe I've just not been putting out enough in life to receive goodness, you know. And I'm right there with you. I think it drives me crazy when people put their hands in the air and just go, "Why me? What am I doing wrong? Like what?" Why is everything going against my way? And it's like, maybe you should look at yourself. Maybe you should look at yourself in the mirror and actually reflect on everything that you've been putting out. And maybe you'd understand why then you're getting so much shit back, you know? Which is just crazy to me. Some people still are just so stubborn in that ideology that it's just everybody else's fault. I'm doing the right things, but everybody else is fucking with my life. And so you definitely see that in cities a lot where it's just everybody's just it's I call it the pity party, right? Where everybody just wants to blame everybody else, blame the government, blame this, blame that, and it's just like, dude, look at yourself in the mirror, and then you'll be able to understand why things are going the way they are, and that's just the goddamn truth.
Yeah, and they never will. That's the unfortunate part.
No.
Yeah, it's like the world's not so bad. The world's not so bad if you turn off the news.
Yeah.
It's I'm saying like it always does crack me up. It's like just having a positive attitude about things or positive outlook on life is like everybody's like there's just so much suffering. It's like that's just such a cynical way to look at things. It's like yeah, there's bad things that go on in the world, but it's you don't fix that by just being cynical the whole entire time and just be sitting there moping and throwing yourself a pity party nonstop and be like, well, I can't do this because of this. I can't go here because of that. And it's like, okay, it's like, yeah. Yeah, I don't have much advice for people like that for too long. It's just kind of like, I don't know if I want to be around you that much. You're kind of, it's contagious. Misery loves company.
Oh, it does. Oh, it absolutely does. You're absolutely right. Cause yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, you don't want to be around them. It's just the people like that, and then they wonder why nobody wants to hang out or nobody wants to spend time with them. It's like, dude, you gotta look in the mirror. You just gotta look in the mirror. So, what do you think the world needs more from people, and how do you try and embody that in yourself?
I would say the world just needs a little bit more, I would, yeah, go back to the accountability thing. I think the world just needs a little bit more accountability. Like, I think if you become self-accountable, you should demonstrate ownership in your life. It benefits everybody around you as well because you're willing to take like control of like things that are like, hey, that was my fault. I apologize. Like you're being honest with yourself. Like that also when you are it's also a contagious behavior, which is good. It's like when you're sitting there being like, hey, we're not where we're at because it's my fault and I apologize about that and I recognize that. And then you also have other people stepping up to the plate and doing the same thing. Um, but yeah, I think and that's what I try to do every day at work. Or just or like, hey, I try to take the blame for a lot of things that like if it's my fault, it's my fault. I'll take the blame on it, like take it on the chin. It's like just keep moving forward. I'm not perfect, never will be, but you're not gonna fix anything if you don't acknowledge you had a problem in the first place.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I love the leading by example. That's one thing that I always like to preach to people is like you don't have to be the rah rahs, go out there and do motivational speaking, do all the shit. Like just contribute to society the best way you know how to and just lead by example. And then because it goes to show if you're putting like you said, if you go out and take accountability, then someone else is gonna wanna go, "Hey, I should take accountability for myself too," you know? Or, "Hey, that guy's walking around with this fucking smile on his face, and I'm over here with a frown and all pissed off. Maybe I should take more accountability and just put a smile on my face every once in a while," you know? I think well, I've said it so many times. I think leadership is one of the biggest things lacking in modern society. I think that modern society just doesn't have enough good leaders, or they have too many people who think they're good leaders putting out enough, content and all this other stuff that just shouldn't be out there. And they think that they're doing the righteous thing and doing the things, and it's just like I think you're hurting society more than you're improving it. And so I think it's very important to lead by example rather than lead by vocal or trying to be out there and do all the different things like that. So, um, I think it's really important. And so,
Yeah, just that false depiction of like you're portraying a message, but you're not living it every day.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, as parents, we have a huge responsibility to kind of show our kids lead by example because they're going to put right back out into society what they see because that's the only thing they know. And that's what try and tell people. And like I had Nadine on the podcast the other day, and, her as a teacher, that's the biggest thing that she struggles with is that she sees so many kids just being, reincarnated to their parents, and their parents don't even know that they're just out there, making their kids turn into these little demons because they just have such a negative perspective on life, and so it's tough, but we have such a huge responsibility, and so that's one thing that keeps me going every day is that, even if I'm having a bad day or, not really feeling doing certain things that it's not about me. It's about the younger run, so, which is a lot of fun, but, well, do you have any questions for me, good sir? I know I wanted to leave a little bit of time for you if you had any questions that you thought of.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so like I guess kind of pointing back at you, like your journey as a father. What's one of the biggest like takeaways that you found? Something you didn't know about yourself that after you had kids you started to discover, good or bad.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, I think that I hate being alone. And so being with kids is a great thing that I'm fulfilling a purpose. And so, but I've noticed now that when like Darian will take the kids back to Spencer, like to go to Des Moines to see her sister, whatever it is, that I'm starting to lose a little bit of my own path, and I don't think that's a good thing. Like, I'm taking on the role of a dad so much that when they're not there, I'm like, "Oh shit, who am I again?" You know? And so that's why I've been trying to do the podcast and do different things like that to keep progressing forward. I think that I've willingly put my life on hold for my kids, and you have to a degree. You do have to you can't be as ambitious, you can't do all the things that you wanna do, but, I think there's been times where it's just like, I don't need to necessarily stop doing certain things, or I don't need to necessarily give as much, certain things to my kids. Obviously, you have to be there every day, you have to support them, you have to do all the things like that, but, um I think I've just found that, yeah, when they're not there, it's like it's hard not to you're like, "Well, I'm supposed to be a dad right now. What am I doing?" "What's going on in life?" So, I think the silence is a lot louder than it has been in the past, where in the past, you can fill it with going out to eat, going out and having drinks, playing games with the boys, whatever it is, filling that void, where now it's like when the silence comes, it's like you gotta take it head on, and so, I think that I've found that recently in the last couple of months where it's like, yeah, I gotta still be me. As much as you're a dad, as much as you're a husband, I'm still a person, I'm still me, and so I think
You're
it's
still doing.
something
Yeah.
I definitely struggle with a little bit, so trying to be the best version of that self and still be me
Yeah.
and trying to do what's best for me at the same time, so
And I mean, that's an underlooked thing too with parents is like it's all you also want to keep true to yourself and like do the passions that you love and your kids will see you do passions that you love and hopefully what they'll find is like passions that they love to do they'll always make time for it so it's like a that's something yeah with Theo I've done the same thing where it's like if he sees me and I involve him in the things that I love doing too um it's like then it's like okay then maybe it'll give him when he's older like even if it's busy and I'm busy doing stuff, I can still go out there and do things that I love that make me me or make me whole. Uh, you're a better version of your if you stay true to who Dylan is, or you stay true to who Nick is, it's like that you're gonna come back as a better dad, better husband, showing up for them as well.
absolutely.
Because you're right. You do put a little bit of your life on pause when you have a kid, but
Yeah.
you definitely want to lose sight of who you used to be or who you were.
No, and I think that's yeah, like I said, it's just it was a million miles an hour. Like for before I had kids, it was like you had like 5 year goals, right? And the list is just so long, and you're just trying to get everything marked off. And now the sheet's just like I just want to be a good dad, be a good husband, support my family the best way I can, so on and so forth. And yeah, it's tough. So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things is that with the podcast is like being able to go out and have tough conversations, go out and ask tough questions, but also stay connected with the people that you care about. And yeah, just lead by example is the best thing that I can do. So, but yeah, I gotta continue every day. Yeah, continue being me, doing what makes me me, and so then that way they can live through me, and get to become their own person. And so, but no, I think that's a great question.
Yeah, that was the one question. Yeah, I guess not. Maybe another thing too. What would you say from like when we graduated high school till now? What are things that obviously everyone changes, but like, what's the most noticeable change you've had in yourself that you've like just
That's a good question. It was the physical side of me. So I was so wrapped up in high school and even in early, like going into college football, military, all that stuff, that I just was so focused on the physical side of things that I thought who I was as a person was I could physically do. And that's where I gave, my titles of, whether it was a PT test, whether it was, going up mountains and hiking and rucking and doing all these things or like playing college football, and that was just my titles was that like when you asked me, oh, like if met a random stranger, I'd be like, the first thing I would say was, oh, I was a college athlete and I, joined the military, blah, 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 and all these things. And it's like, it it wasn't until I actually ended up I don't know if I've told you my back is completely fucked up, and so I basically on my lower 5 discs are completely just squished, and so I've basically had to stop being an athlete altogether, and so that was the biggest difference between high school and now, where it was just like everything who I was about being an athlete. Everything I was what I could physically do to now my mentality is what can I do mentally? What mentally can I accomplish and how many different things can I take on mentally? And that was a huge change. And it wasn't an easy change either. That was really, really hard for a very long time was taking away the physical aspect of everything and turning it more into a mental aspect. Because yeah, when you're so focused on the physical aspect, you never think about mental things, and so, it's been a long road that way, and so now I finally got to the point where it's like mental muscle is way more important than any other muscles I could have ever conjured up in the past. Like it just doesn't matter, and I think that's something that I wish my younger self would have caught on earlier too. Is that it doesn't matter how many reps you can do of this or how much, bench press, running miles, whatever it is, none of that defines who you are. It just doesn't. And so I just gave it so much weight. I gave it so much weight for so long. And so now that I finally get to acknowledge that and be the person that I'm meant to be, it's relieving and it definitely keeps my mental state a little bit more sharp. Um, but yeah. I wish I could still work out and do all the things that I used to be able to do, but that's just not in the cards for me. It's just not. That's just not how it's been. So I've been trying to find different ways to get that mental relief. And like I said, meditation's been one of the biggest things, because I do think you need that dopamine release. I do think that you need that being able to clear your brain, and that's what physical activity did for me for the longest time. So, um, but yeah, it's so hard to think that we were already 10 years out, 10 years removed. It's so weird because I remember like growing up and just being like, people like, yeah, 10 years. I'm like, man, you're old as shit. That's so old. But it's like, yeah, we are old. We fucking are old.
it's crazy how fast time goes like right after high school. I was gonna say like the military, it kind of went by slow, it seemed like, because I think you're just counting down when you're counting down the days to the end of something, it goes down with like when you're excited for the end of something. Because I don't know
Mhm.
about you, but on the first enlistment, like halfway through, I was like, I cannot wait to get out. Cannot wait to get out of the military. And then like you get out and then all of a sudden it's just been the fastest time of my life now. Like it's so fast. And then ever since having a kid, oh my God, felt like yesterday he was like 6 months old. Now he's 3 years old. It's like, it's
Right?
insane.
The weeks go by fast, man. It used to be days go
Oh
by
my God.
fast, but now it's like weeks. Weeks go by fast. And
Yeah.
it's tough. Do you ever miss the military or do you ever wish that you would have stayed in
All the
longer?
time.
Yeah?
I don't know if I wish I'd stayed in longer because like what I loved about it was not necessarily the military as itself or the Marine Corps as itself, but it was the dudes I was with. I loved the guys I was with a great group of dudes, and it was one of those things where it was like, and I'm sure every guy says it, but it's like when we did it right, and it's like if I were to do it again, I'd have to have all those guys back with me because that to me was what made it what it was. It wasn't all the shitty times you go through and all that. It Doing it with those guys, that's what made it worth it. And when you look back on it, I can't think of any memory I have that I was like, man, that's a terrible memory. Like, there's obviously memories where you're like, oh, that wasn't fun. I wouldn't want to necessarily do it, but
Yeah.
like you did it with your boys. You did it with the boys, and it was like it was like I'd do anything with the boys. That's the best thing. So I love it. What about yourself? Do you look back and like,
Yeah, I honestly I wish I would've went active duty. That was my biggest thing is that I told myself because I was 2 years into college that I had to go back and finish college, so I had to do the reserves, and it's not true. I could have at any point gone back and finished my college, or maybe I just wasn't meant to finish college and I just didn't see it. It wasn't in my hindsight because, yeah, now I have a degree in history, but I've never used it once. Like, I'm in sales. I literally sell shit for a living. Like, I've never used my degree, so what was the point of going back? And that was the thing. To your point, I loved it. I loved it so much, and so I think it would have been great to be active duty. I don't know how long it would have been lasted or how long my career would have been, but which is so ironic too, because the whole reason I even went into the military is because I told myself if I was 50 and I never did it, I would regret it for the rest of my life. So the fact that I even did it and then I regretted not going active duty, I'm like, man. So that was my biggest thing. Is like if I was gonna do it, I should have just went 100% all in. Should have just went active. And because when we went to Rwanda for 35 days and I got to experience like an active duty kind of setting, I was like, dude, this is me. I was like, this is so me. And I really wish I would have done it. But my back, yeah, it wasn't shortly after. I think it was like 6 months after that when my back started doing the thing and I got exited because of that. So um I do regret that. I do regret that I never went active duty, but, I do miss the structure sometimes too, though, when there's days where you're like, "Man, what should I do?" Or like, you finish up early or all these other things. It's like, yeah, there was a lot of downtime and there was a lot of shit where you just standing and waiting, but at the same time, it was like, it gave you a purpose. It gave you fulfillment, and sometimes it's nice not or being told what to do, honestly, where it's like, you have to do it and you have to tell yourself to go do it. Sometimes it's nice for someone to say, "Hey, buddy, go get off your ass and go do that." Yep, gotcha. It honestly, you miss it. Honestly, at least I do. But yeah, I wish I would have been active duty.
first that first Monday after I got out of the Marine Corps, I was like, or like when I first started my first job, I was like, wow. I was like, just did had no idea what to do with myself. No idea.
Yeah,
No
that's got to
idea.
be
I
a
sat
surreal
there.
feeling.
It was lunchtime and people were like just getting up and going to lunch. I was like, you guys just like get up whenever you want and go to lunch. They're like, yeah. I was like, what? At the end of the day, you're like,
Uh,
you don't like, there's no one talking to us. You just kind of head out when you want to head out. They're like, yeah. It's like, what? It
that's got
was,
to be such a
it
weird
was such an
feeling.
adaptation, but like you go, yeah, you go for I had 5 years and you do 5 years of that life. And then you just go into like, everyone is just kind of looking out for themselves type of thing. And it's like, wow, this is total 180 degrees. Like I have no idea what's going on. Like this is crazy. Yeah.
Who knows what could have been, but I mean, at the end of the day, we both can say we did it. I mean, that's the biggest thing is that at the end of the day, we did it, and I think that's life's purpose is that you check things off, you just do things and collect them to your tool belt of things that you've done.
As much as you can.
Well, I always like to ask a bonus question.
Hear it.
It wasn't put on the questions list, but I always like to ask people since it's the history buff in me. How do you think the ancient pyramids were built, and who do you think built them?
I think there was some extraterrestrial intervention. I know I'm gonna sound far
Yeah,
out with it.
no, I'm here
This
for
is
it.
this is what I think because it's like I look at the size of those stones and like yes, the slaves are involved. I'm not disacknowledging that humans were not involved in the structure, but how they were built, how perfectly they were built. If you had one pebble of sand in the wrong spot at the bottom, it is completely thrown off at the top.
Mhm.
Exponentially in the size of those stones, human being, how are they moving them? And I've heard that the stones were pulled from like hundreds of miles away from the actual location where the pyramids were actually built. So how are they transported to that location? And it's like you could say they used wagons and they used some type of like logs to roll them along the way. It's like, but I feel like to build 3 of them that and, like, to also, like, where they're, lining up with constellations is
Mhm.
absolutely incredible, and they were an advanced civilization, no doubt, but it's like, I just have a feeling that there was some assistance from a higher level on that one. I really do.
No, I like that answer, and that's kind of a very popular answer too. It's like it's not little green people, it's just some type of being or entity that was just more powerful than we are, that just found a way. And you're absolutely right. It was quarried. I think the quarry is 550 miles down south from where the pyramids were actually built, and so that's why I was like, people say, "Oh yeah, they totally dragged it," and they're up to 80 tons. It's like you're lying. You're a lying son of a bitch. There's no way. And so it's my favorite thing to post on the internet. I love to post the ancient Egypt one because I get people chirping in my comments all the time, but it's like, I'm right there with you. I definitely think that it was more of an advanced civilization, and so whether that's people that look like you and me, I don't know, but, that's the one thing I always say, if I had a time machine or if I could go back in history at any point, that's what time I'd go back and look, so I always like to ask people what they think, but, um I think you're right on the money. Another one that I've heard a lot is giants, and I'm like, I'm kinda here for that too. I think that'd be fun. It's a
That'd be
fun
cool.
idea. I mean, how
Yep.
realistic? I don't know, but, I don't know. I think it'd be kinda fun, but I always like to ask people, get their opinion on it, but it's my favorite thing to study. Obviously, I have all the Egyptian shit on me, so
Yeah.
that's
You have
just
a
what
ton of
my
Egyptian tattoos.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. So, well, Nick, I really appreciate you coming on and taking the time tonight. I know it's not the easiest thing in the world when you got life going on to come in and talk to the old boy,
Yeah,
but
man.
I really appreciate you coming on and taking the time.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for having me, man. This was awesome.